Well, hey there, shady lady. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, gal pal. Hey, sis. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. For real, it does mean the world to me. I can't say that often enough. I am so grateful for each and every one of you guys, especially in recent times. Your patience with me, it knows no bounds, sis. I have been struggling with the mental health issues, and I've been struggling to do content, but you guys are still here, and I am so appreciative of that. Like, I am so very grateful. Now, if you are a member of a Discord, my Discord specifically, then you know kind of what the stream is going to be about, or, well, what the stream is going to be about. And I ain't got nothing else planned after this topic of discussion, but I'm just giving people some time to come on in. All right, so I have not pre-planned anything that I intend on saying. I never do. I never do. So let's leave it up to chance, shall we? How did you guys feel about last night's live stream? Last night's live stream was rather tame. We enjoyed ourselves. We came together as a community. We spoke. We laughed. We had a good time. We reacted to videos. We talked about suspect individuals who have acted in a suspect way because of suspect motivations. We also reacted to a video by a person by the name of Rainy Days Commentary or whatnot. And like I said, I had been in contact with someone who was in contact with this Rainy Days individual, and that person had asked me to share with Rainy Days several of the videos that I had done, the pre-recorded videos, for her to use. I guess she needed the clips that I had access to use in her video on Edwin, right? Well, I forgot to share those with her. So after reacting to her video, I went on over, and just to sort of let her know that, you know, I'm sorry that I never got back to you with the videos I was supposed to get back to you with. I'm just extending this, like, I don't know, communication to let you know that if you need anything in the future, you can totally reach out. If you intend on continuing your commentary, hit me up. I can share whatever you need, right? So I said, hi. Most people have an extreme hatred for me based on my coverage of Edwin as a topic. Anyway, that being said, if you ever feel inclined to reach out to me, you can do so by contacting me on Discord. I believe you're in contact with a mutual friend who can provide you with my Discord @ or whatever. I was supposed to provide them with videos of mine in order for them to give them to you, but I forgot, sorry. So she responds, appreciate you reaching out. I'm not interested at present to do another video on Edwin. I just wanted to highlight some of my recent criticisms of him. I'm not interested in giving him any more attention unless he attacks people I respect and care about. Well, I like that because I can totally understand that, but here's the thing. Regardless of whether or not you intend on giving him any more attention, he is still receiving that attention from the general public because they have no idea what he is truthfully guilty of. They just don't. So I simply responded, I can totally understand and respect that. However, I think you should know that he is far more guilty of more heinous things than what you've mentioned in your video. If you ever feel that the public deserves to be aware of these things and feel inclined to cover them, like I said, feel free to reach out. And I left it at that. And like I said, when reacting to her video specifically, it was done okay, but there were gaps in her knowledge, gaps in the information provided, in which these very horrible things were being said and done by Edwin that could have absolutely been included in her video. But of course, as a former fan of his, she's probably not yet at the point at which she wants to call attention to those very inappropriate happenings. And if that's the case, that's the case. All I knew is that this is someone who wanted access to my resources that I've utilized in my coverage of Edwin as a topic. I offered it. She declined. Whatever. That's the extent of it. That is literally the extent of it. I reacted to her boring video, and then I offered my resources. That's it. That's all. And it was a very chill, tame live stream. But lo and behold, after the live stream ended, I had a new message. Do you remember during the live stream at the very beginning, I had a new message from a notorious Department of Homeboy security member, someone who does harass, attack, belittle, and fight individuals who give a negative perspective of Edwin, particularly because, well, Edwin wants her to. Edwin created the Department of Homeboy Security for that purpose and that purpose alone. Well, I had a new message from her, and I went to open it at the beginning of the live stream, but she had deleted it because she was actually there watching the live stream. She saw that I was going to open that message, and she deleted it. But then after the live stream, because she was there watching, she's there watching now. She watches every live stream I do. She contacted me. She contacted me, and she did what they always do. What they always do. What is it? What is it that they do? They take any little thing you say and feign as if it's the worst thing in the world that a person could say. That's what they do. And they do this in a frivolous attempt to equate any statement I have made to the truly troubling things that Edwin has done and said during his time online. Point blank, period. That's it. That's all. So I'm trying to think, should I get into the message first, or should I replay the clip this individual was all up in arms about and over-exaggerating the severity of? I think I'll show you the clip first. I got it ready to go. Why not? So this streamed live 19 hours ago. This is the stream that I did last night. I changed the title. I also made it say, Hank Hill, when asked about Edwin in a recent interview, replied with, "The boy ain't right." Anyway. This is the very specific clip this person is deciding to run with and over-exaggerate and sensationalize as if it's the most horrendous thing a person could have said or done. But as always, I have proof as to why that is not what this person actually feels or thinks. I have proof that suggests that this person is doing this for no other reason than to conflate this instance that occurred in my live stream with things that Edwin himself has said in order to negate my concerns or my criticisms about Edwin's statement. When the statement that I make here is nowhere near on the same level as statements that Homeboy himself has made. Let's hit play, shall we? I'm excited. Are you excited? So this person asks me not to say their username. Now, immediately when I saw this, and I saw that they asked me not to say their username, my first instinctual response, insofar as why this person didn't want their username stated, was the idea that this was, in fact, this particular person on a stock account. Someone says, please don't say my username. I work with a channel where I have to stay neutral, but wanted to mention it in case you did not know. Just for your... So they proceed to tell me this very personal information in regards to his family life, which had no place being brought up in my live stream chat. We were commenting on another individual's public video about Edwin. And this individual decided to bring private personal information about his private family life into my live stream. So I responded accordingly. But no, I didn't know, and no, I don't care. For information, everyone found out on Twitter now that Edwin's dad died. I didn't know that. Sorry for the loss. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that he's somehow not responsible for the various things that he's done wrong, for the various lies that he's told that has detrimentally impacted good people. These people have been living with those lies for years, lies that are predominantly believed by the public. Doesn't change the things that he's guilty of at all. Sorry for your loss. It doesn't change who you are as a person. But now I'm wondering if that's the reason for his absence for those months, because a user... And the reason that I started wondering that is because this individual did not give us a timeline, and the way they phrased what it was they said in my chat led me to have the assumption that they're talking about a passing that happened months ago. Took it upon herself to message him despite me saying, do not message these people. And she asked if he had taken a break from YouTube and social media because of my content, because of my commentary. He said no. And yet in his video on me, he alludes to the idea that that's the reason why he decided to take that break. But it makes me wonder if the truth is you took that break because of your dad passing. And how much of that is true, or how much of that is just a way for him to get sympathy? I mean, I'm sorry, but we know who he is. We know that he is prone to sympathy bait. Sorry for your loss. Anyway, let's get back to her video. Now, what I mean specifically is we have already identified multiple instances in which Edwin is lying about petty little things, but also several instances in which he's lying about large things to make himself a victim and to adversely affect whoever he's targeting. We've already identified it. We've already clocked it as a lie. We've already proved it to be a lie. So naturally, when I have the evidence that suggests that an individual has lied many times over about very serious things as well as trivial things, I'm going to be reticent to believe whatever bullshit news is brought into my live stream chat. And that's just the truth. When you've proven yourself to have difficulty in telling the truth, particularly in instances in which you might be seen as some type of victim, a victim of another person's actions or a victim of circumstances, when you can't tell the truth in that regard, I'm not going to believe anything else that you say or claim. Point blank, period. And I don't think it's unreasonable to come to that conclusion. I really don't. Not when this individual has lied as often as he's lied. I just don't. And once again, let me put this into perspective. This is not me on Edwin's channel, on his live stream, on his Twitter, on his Instagram. This is me doing a live stream in which I was reacting to a video created by another person entirely, having a completely different and separate conversation because, first of all, I did not know and I do not care. And you decided to bring it up and then act shocked when my response and my feelings are not in line with yours. And that baffles me. So yet again, the same old individual who has a habit of doing this type of thing, she simply messages me after this live stream ends with a link to her tweet. Anyone with a brain in their skull knows that I don't have access to my Twitter account. And when I click to follow through a Twitter link, I'm brought back to the same page on which I appealed the posts that were falsely flagged by this individual and others. I can't see what you're referring to. So I simply asked, what was heartless? Because obviously this says, at deity of YouTube. That was the most heartless thing I've ever seen on YouTube. Really? Because you're a diehard fan of Edwin. And I'm willing to bet you've seen more heartless shit occur than me having a flippant attitude to something that has nothing to do with what I'm reacting to. And I'm going to exemplify that fact. It came from you and several in your chat. I hope no one ever says the shit to you that you say to others because not even you would deserve that. So obviously this is manipulation, and it's not manipulation of me as much as it is manipulation of the public reading this tweet. She's leveraging it in such a way as to give the public the idea that somehow I've gone so low that not even a lowly little person like me would deserve how low I went. When in reality, you should probably put yourself under a microscope and wonder why it is you brought that personal information into my live stream in the first place when you know I dislike this individual. When you know I'm not going to give this person any more sympathy or empathy than he's capable of giving another. So she responds, someone, right, told you about Edwin's father passing away. You chose to continue in that moment. Yes, because that had nothing to do with what I was discussing. You chose to involve rainy day reviews in the most disrespectful event I've stomached this year online. Yet again, bitch, you've stomached far more disrespectful events at the hands of Edwin, but the difference is your like for this lying, disrespectful individual and your hatred for me. And I will be exemplifying that fact. And if you have an issue with my very tame response, I would like to know why is it that you don't have an issue with the things that Edwin has said? That's what I would like to know. And I want a rational explanation. You took no consideration that perhaps Edwin's remaining family loves him, and observing a moment of silence by discontinuing for today was the only choice. You acted heartlessly to continue your stream. I am extremely disappointed. But here's the thing, sis. I don't care what you think of me. I don't. Ever since I've been on this platform, you've made it your prerogative to trash me, insult me, belittle me, harass me incessantly. That is why I have never put much stock into what it is you say. I've tried to be cordial with you, but no more. No more. I don't know what your issue is, but you have an issue, and I'm choosing not to deal with it anymore. I don't want you around anymore. I don't want you communicating with me anymore. And that is a choice that I am perfectly within my right to make. So I simply respond, I'm confused, genuinely confused. What do you think I'm supposed to do? Do you think that simply because you care for his feelings and his well-being that we all do? He is a stranger to me. His family is a stranger to me. I do not care for him as a public content creator. I was doing commentary on his public content. His private family affairs had no business being brought up in my live stream. Once they were, I responded accordingly by saying, I'm sorry for your loss, but this doesn't absolve you of your wrongdoing, or something to that effect. And honestly, I don't believe that I'm in the wrong. I'm not going to pretend to be emotionally moved by something that does not impact me at all. And it's odd that you'd expect that of me. I think maybe you have trouble identifying the fact that your feelings are not the rule on how everyone should feel on a given subject or about a given person. That being said, I was thinking recently, and honestly, an open avenue of communication with you serves me in no way. No way at all. That being said, I've also come to the conclusion that although you are a victim of his manipulation just as much as everyone else he has manipulated, and that although you are struggling with some form of mental illness just as much as we all struggle with mental illness, I'm not okay with the manner in which your mental illness or the manipulation you are experiencing manifests. I'm not attempting to use your mental health issues against you, nor am I trying to denigrate you for having them. I'm simply putting in place personal boundaries, and this is a boundary that I'd expect you not to cross. I do not care that you're upset at me for doing commentary on your favorite content creator. It has nothing to do with you, except for the fact that, Edwin has asked her to do this to anyone who expresses a negative opinion about him. Give your opinion all you want. I do not care. But leave me alone, period. I'm not asking, I'm telling you. I'm putting this boundary in place because of your behavior and the fact that I just do not want to hear from you whatsoever. Period. That's exactly where I'm going with this. How much empathy should be given to someone who has mocked your own sexual abuse and doesn't care what their followers say to you? That said, I also don't think it's sympathy bait. I don't think that him posting online about his father's passing is sympathy bait. I think the way in which it was posted in my live stream that was about somebody else's video on him, that was sympathy bait. And I think they were trying to bait me into giving this sympathetic response that, quite honestly, I'm not going to give. Recently, I saw that Nick Snyder's mom passed away with COVID, and I was emotionally moved by that. And when I saw him cry over that, I cried with him. That hit me on a personal level, and I felt so sorry for Nick Snyder, regardless of what he's done to people online or what he said to people online. I felt so horrible over the fact that his mother passed away and he couldn't be there with her. But when it comes to Edwin, I am not going to give an emotional response when I don't feel an emotional response, specifically because he has never, not once, given an ounce of empathy or sympathy to another person. Never. In fact, he's always done quite the opposite, which I'm about to illustrate. So I also followed those screenshots up by saying, the audacity though, this is nothing new for her specifically. She likes to do this sort of thing and feign as if it's the worst thing anyone could possibly say, but in this instance, she is absolutely pretending. I mean, think about it. She's acting as if the news of his father's passing should have somehow meant anything to me. It means no more to me than hearing of the countless deaths that occur every day. Sure, it's sad, but lots of things in this world are sad. And I'm sorry, but I'm not fond of Edwin. I have no goodwill towards him whatsoever and no good feeling towards him at all. I just don't. He mocked my rape. He mocked my past with addiction. No, I don't have any remorse. Even if he had never mocked those truly personal aspects of my life, I would have responded in the same exact way. Quotes, I'm sorry for your loss, but it does not absolve you of your wrongdoing. Why? Because it does not impact me in any way, shape, or form. I don't know how else to explain it other than that personal experience taking place in his personal life has nothing to do with my commentary on his public content or on a public video about him. Nothing. This is a reach. End of story. And I feel that way. I feel that way entirely. Entirely. There was no way that I was going to feign as if I was so impacted by the news that I just had to end my live stream. That would have been the most thoroughly dishonest display of bullshit ever. Ever. That news impacted me? Not at all. Not at all. We're talking about someone who was so cruel, he mocked my rape and fear. Real fear of being dehumanized and cannibalized that came about as a result of the real world stalking that I experienced. We're talking about someone who joked that they should create artwork of me eating myself and sell that. We're talking about someone who heard about Shiloh's loss of her daughter, who laughed, scoffed at her suicide attempt, and stated, "I have a bachelor's degree in psychology. She's lying." Why in hell do you have this bizarre way of thinking that says in your little mind that somehow he is worthy of an emotional response that he has failed to give anyone? That is an outlandishly unrealistic expectation that makes you look, quite frankly, foolish.
For 2 days, my daughter's anniversary of her death is coming. I told him that, and I begged him, like, I'm not.
I don't know how well you can understand the audio, but Shiloh says, in 2 days, dude, the anniversary of my daughter's death is coming, and I begged him to just leave it alone. I'm not okay. And he scoffs.
Please just understand that I'm a human being, and just leave me alone.
Please just understand that I'm not okay. I'm a human being, and please leave me alone.
And then the next day, he made a video about it.
So, that is so manipulative in so many ways. Because first of all, if she swallowed a bottle, I think that the result might be different. Number one. Number two, if she was to watch, she wouldn't be allowed a cell phone. Not in the state of California, at least. And number three, I didn't make my video on Wednesday. I made my video on Friday, the day after we spoke. And if she thinks that I made a video because of our conversation, she's absolutely delusional. It just goes to show how her ego is so large.
I made my video on Friday, the day after we spoke, but if she thinks I did it because we spoke, she's delusional. What sense does that make? It makes zero fuck all sense. But most importantly, he's discounted the idea that she's in a mentally unstable place in which she's contemplating taking her own life and may have attempted to do so. He's laughed at that idea, completely discredited it and discounted it to his audience of thousands of people. He heard the news of the anniversary of her daughter's death and he rolled his eyes. But it gets better.
You know what I mean? Come on, man. Like, guys, I know I'm not using my degree for like a regular psychology job, but fucking hey, I have a degree in psychology. I'm 30 years old. I'm not a fucking child. I'm not in high school. And she's about to turn 27. Come on, we're all adults here. Talk to me like you're grown up. Quit using this bullshit. Like, you know, I must watch Edwin. Yeah, they let him use a phone. Yeah, well, you know what? I'm allowed to fucking snap at you, bro. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I like dead baby jokes.
Completely discounts and belittles the idea that she's emotionally unstable, mentally vulnerable. Completely laughs at it, discounts it, discredits it. As an appeal to authority, he cites his bachelor's degree in psychology, which could give him no insight whatsoever into what she's truthfully feeling in that moment. Nothing. Obviously, it hasn't served him well yet. Now, if you want to state me responding with, "Sorry for your loss, but that doesn't absolve you of your wrongdoing." If you want to state that that was cruel, the most cruel thing you've stomached, how about that? How about the willful disregard for the mental instability of someone that you are provoking and antagonizing, attacking, harassing with your DHS? How about that when she's begging to be left alone? How about the complete disregard of that and the shifting of goalposts? How about that? Was that not cruel to you? Obviously not, because you saw that and you supported it and you came back for more. How is it okay for him to discount these very real world instances of trauma for people, to joke about them? And then what? His DHS is running around acting as if he's owed empathy and sympathy for the passing of a relative. I don't owe him a damn thing. And what he will get from me is exactly what he deserves.
Someone said in the chat, the risk is at risk of so. And how does she know where I am? You know, how does she know where I am
That is such a classic move of his.
in life? This is my first ever exchange with her. How does she know where all these other people that she's done it to are in life? Can you answer that, please? Because she doesn't. She's never talked to me before. She's never talked to any of these people before that she's DM'd.
Have you or any of these other people voiced the fact that you are having these thoughts? No. No. And that is the difference. At this point, she had voiced this.
I don't have the endurance to prepare all the other people that have DM'd me and have shown me the way that she's treated them as well. I don't have that. Okay?
Yet again, what he's not telling the public is that these are people who antagonized and provoked her because he incited them to do so.
I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't feel so strongly about this. And that's all I can say. Like, you can't just recklessly be saying this to me.
I wouldn't be discrediting the idea that this person is mentally unstable and considering taking their own life unless I felt really strongly about it.
That's just inappropriate and irresponsible. You don't just earn a platform.
So is it not reckless and irresponsible for you to completely brush aside someone saying, hey, what you're doing to me is aggravating my mental illness and I am already in a precarious state? That is so reckless. That is so dangerous, but you didn't give a damn. And it's made all the more reckless and dangerous when you consider the fact that he used his bachelor's degree in psychology as a means of stating, I'm an authoritarian figure on this subject, and I know she's lying. That makes it 10 times more deadly.
On shaming Onision, 35,000 followers within 6.
What was that, sis?
If I didn't feel so strongly.
You get it. Sorry, I had to take a few breaths because, like I said, I haven't listened to it before, and I'm about to play it. But Downbeat Dialga says, it's not that Edwin feels strongly, it's that he feels he's always right. I can see that, but I think it has a lot more to do with he feels he's in the right specifically because he was antagonizing, belittling, and discrediting the word of a woman, a female survivor. So this is Edwin and Augie and God knows who else.
God, I don't watch this shit.
That personhood, losing that humanity, to be broken down to such a degree that you're not even human, you're just fucking food, you know? Yeah. And to this day, my biggest fear is shit like cannibalization. My biggest fear is shit.
So, he's scared he's gonna get eaten by a person, and that's...
You know, I've heard some wild fears,
I don't want.
Keep in mind, the person who finds this so funny not only has a bachelor's degree in psychology, but has never experienced real-world trauma. In fact, I am willing to wager that his father's passing is the first instance of anything that could be called trauma that he's experienced. We can't forget that this person completely fabricated an online dispute that he labeled as a traumatic event. What does that tell you? It tells you that he's never experienced real-world trauma. He's never experienced a man that is more powerful than you, older than you, stronger than you, robbing you of your personhood and stalking you for months. He's never experienced that. And he has no context in his own life through which to understand how that can make you feel less than human. It can make you feel like an animal. And I believe in being very open on my online platform in regards to mental health issues, the things that I've experienced in life, and discussing those things in an open, honest manner. So I did go into detail about not only what I experienced physically, but the delusions, if you want to call them that it caused me to have. And I don't know that I'm going to be able to sit here and listen to them discuss what I went through, knowing full and well Augie has no world experience. He streams from the closet of his meth addict father's house. And Edwin has spent the greater part of his adult years being babied by another man. So when you lead extremely sheltered existences, it's very easy to sit back and laugh at what other people have experienced in life. Very easy. And it's very easy to discount the words of another person who is detailing what they've lived through when your biggest trauma in life is going from one apartment to your mother's house. It is so exceptionally easy. So exceptionally easy.
God, I don't watch this shit.
That personhood, losing that humanity, to be broken down to such a degree that you're not even human, you're just fucking food, you know? Yeah. And to this day, my biggest fear is shit like cannibalization. My biggest fear is shit.
So, he's scared he's gonna get eaten by a person, and that's...
You know, I've heard some wild fears,
I don't
dude.
watch this shit. This is fucking weird.
Cannibalization.
Oh God, you're fucking him up right now. He's live and you're cannibalizing his views. He's gonna cry.
Holy shit. This is really fucking mind-blowing me.
Cannibalize this ratio.
It's like people being taken and tied up. And
cannibalize these nuts. Cannibalize these nuts.
His biggest fear is cannibalization.
There's nothing scarier to me than losing. There's nothing scarier to me than losing your personhood, losing your humanity. That is a real fear.
You mean dying?
I remember one time we were
hashtag cannibalize these nuts.
in a private mod chat, and they were talking about BDSM, and that triggered.
Wait.
Like, I hate to use that term, but it did, because they started talking about this fetish where some people like to be put in this like latex bag and have all the air vacuumed out to the point at which they're suffocating, and it's for the other person to unzip it in time so they don't die and they can get a breath, and they get off of that fear. They get off on that person being able to make the choice.
Who is this other person in the call? Yes. I feel like
I agree. That's why Edwin's bad. Yep.
This is the same energy when Buntigan got interviewed by Baring's like wife, and
so, like I said, I'm aware of what was said because I've seen the transcripts. I've been told what was said, but I didn't want to listen to it. I didn't want to hear them say it, so I stepped away, and I got the world's tiniest popsicle. Like, I definitely have unreconciled trauma from that experience that I don't know that I will ever be able to deal with. And I thought that I could be able to play this and play the entirety of the clip and sit there, but I can't. I can't. I mean, I can't. So, when your biggest trauma is trespassing upon the personal boundaries put in place by your best friend who thought he could trust you, beginning an illicit affair with a woman he's in a relationship with, being asked to leave, whining and being allowed to stay, and then choosing to leave of your own accord, when that is your trauma, going from one apartment to your mama's house because you trespassed against the personal boundaries put in place by your best friend who trusted you not to alienate those boundaries or violate those boundaries, you have no real world experience. None. So it's very easy as someone with a bachelor's degree in psychology, to discount what people are saying they've experienced, very real world experiences they've gone through. It's very easy to laugh at that, to discount it. Particularly when your only trauma is going from one apartment to your mother's house because of wrong that you did. Like I said, I'm willing to bet that the loss of his father, if that's a legitimate claim, is the one traumatic experience that he's ever experienced. And even then, I'm hesitant to refer to that as being trauma. I was practically raised by my grandparents, and I lost all four of them, one after the other. I can't even talk. Sequentially, one year I lost one grandmother, and then so on and so forth as a child. And they were big aspects of my life. Big aspects of my life. I dealt with that pain as a child. As a child. So I'm not willing to shed a tear for an adult who's discount the loss of one person's daughter, who's discounted the idea that she may have attempted to take her own life, who discounts the idea that she's mentally unstable or unwell. I'm not willing to have empathy for that person. I'm not willing to have empathy for someone who mocked my rape. As someone with a bachelor's degree in psychology, as someone whose only experience, negative experiences in life, is going from one apartment to the next. I'm not willing to have empathy for you. In fact, I view this as being a modicum, a fraction of a life lesson that you have been deserving for a long time. A long fucking time. I hope the pain that you feel is a fraction of the pain that I have felt as a result of what I went through. And I hope that gives you some understanding. I hope that lets you in on the fact that you shouldn't lie and claim something so trivial to be trauma just to keep two good people in the status of being abusers. Thank you so much, Lily, for your generosity. I definitely appreciate it. That clip is a good example of why I left his community of bullies. They have done me the same way. You have built a wonderful community here for people to feel welcome, even when we don't agree. You have something they don't, honesty. That means so much to me, Lily. It really does. Thank you so much. You know what? People have shat on me for having that mentality, but I completely agree. I completely agree. You can always tell who's been punched in the mouth a few times and who hasn't and who deserves it. But like I said, when you are able to laugh at the idea that the loss of someone's daughter may be causing them emotional pain, that they may have contemplated taking their own life, when you're able to laugh at a real instance of stalking, rape, and joke about that, and joke about the fears that came about as a result of that, it's so obvious to me. So obvious to me that you haven't experienced any of the negative aspects of life. So obvious. That victim complex makes it so obvious. The fact that you have made yourself the victim of such trivial happenings. But like I said, I hope the pain that you are feeling from the loss of your father is a fraction of the pain that I felt when I was forced into the status of subhuman, when I lost the ability to consent. I hope you feel some of the pain that I felt going into my job, leaving my job every day, and seeing the same motherfucker there. And I hope it gives you some perspective on why it was outlandishly comically foolish to claim leaving an apartment and go into your mama's house as trauma, especially when you lied about everything. Because here's the thing. I've seen the receipts. I've seen the evidence. I know that you're a liar. You know that you're a liar. That's why you've acted so desperately to flag down everything that I've done. You know that you're a liar. So I can only hope that real world experiences that come about in your life give you some perspective on the lies that you've told. Izzy says, I also bet my drag closet that he got his psych degree to be a pickup artist. Manipulation. 100%. That was his goal. If you can look at anything that he said or done and think that he got his psych degree with the goal of helping people in mind, then you are so comically fucking stupid. You are so outlandishly ignorant. And it's all because at this point, you want to believe it. So once again, I ask you, if me simply saying sorry for your loss, but that doesn't absolve you of your wrongdoing, if that was such a cruel thing for you to witness, what about what I just showed you? What about any of those instances? Because I know you were there for them. But here's the thing, truthfully, you're just as cruel as Edwin. You're just as cruel as the next person. You're simply trying to feign morally offended. That's it. We know your games. You're not any better at manipulation than Edboy. The loss of a family member, the loss of human life is something that we will all experience and that the majority of us have experienced, right? Right. There is a sanctity to human life that makes it sad when almost any life is lost. That's just the truth. But we all have a very limited amount of time here on this planet, and sometimes the passing comes about as a life lesson. That's not the only reason that the passing comes about, but sometimes that's one of the reasons, right? And I'm talking in the grand scheme of things. Passing is an incredibly personal moment for the individual that's passing and for their family as well. And oftentimes that passing brings up certain unresolved issues in the individual members of that family respectively. And it does come about as a life lesson. And I hope that he's feeling pain. I genuinely do. I really hope he is. And I hope that pain teaches him a lesson that he desperately needs to learn. When you have existed as the type of child at 35 years old who can mock someone's rape, mock the loss of a person's baby, when you have been that type of child at 30-something years old, you need pain in your life to teach you lessons. And I sincerely hope you are learning your lesson.